What's going on, virtual aviators? Goats here with the NA-33rd. Hey, today we're going to be talking about formation flying. I think formation flying is a good topic because I think a lot of people struggle with this when they first get into it. Formation flying, when you think about it in your head, you kind of have one idea about what it's supposed to feel like, what it's supposed to look like, and you know what the difficulty is to do it. However, when you actually start getting into it, I think a lot of people realize that it's a little bit more difficult than you think, especially in DCS or any flight sim for that matter. And reason being is because you don't really have that fly by the seat of your pants feeling that you would get if you were really in the aircraft. Oftentimes, you know, people talk about that household phrase in aviation, you know, flying by the seat of your pants. But what does that actually mean? What it means is that, you know, when you move the aircraft, when you roll the aircraft, when you put more power, when you climb, when you dive, right, you feel something, right, in your gut. You feel something, you know, honestly, physically in your body that tells you what the aircraft is doing. In the sim, you don't really get that. Right? The only thing that you are going to get is visual cues given to you by what you're seeing, you know, via the screen or, you know, VR headset or whatever, you know, you may be using to fly. So it's really important that the first rule of thumb when you are trying to fly formation is that you do everything you can to make sure you can keep a visual on the plane that you're trying to fly formation with. You can't make corrections and you can't anticipate, not very well at least, if you cannot see the aircraft that you are trying to formation fly with. Now, in this instance, I am flying with an AI aircraft. That F-16 up there is Bulldog 1-1. It's an AI bird, and I know a lot of people already want to say, oh man, like it's impossible to fly formation with an AI aircraft. And I'm here to tell you, I don't really think that that's true. Is it difficult? Yes. Can it be done? Yes. Can you learn something from it? Absolutely. Right? I think that flying with the AI is actually a very good tool to use before you start flying in multiplayer, so that you kind of have an idea of what it's like or what to expect, so that when you do get in multiplayer, you know, you could actually have an idea of what it is that you should be looking for and how you should be flying things. So we're going to take off and we're going to showcase some of those things today.
OC-1, airborne.
Do here is yeah, the AI is taking off and you know, he's trying to climb and get to his altitude as soon as possible. Okay, and I can already see that I'm making good strides, closing up the distance on him and getting to his altitude. So we're going to continue to keep the power in and push up and try and get in route formation as soon as possible. When you talk about route formation, there's a specific sight picture that you're looking for, and that sight picture is you want to line up the rear fin of the wingtip missile with the pilot in the cockpit of the aircraft that you're following. Okay. So what that is going to entail is that you're going to have to close the distance. You're going to have to get into a pretty good lateral spacing with the aircraft and hold that position. So as we make our way in, we're closing pretty fast. Just want to make sure that I've got a good line that will run past him just in case I have to strip out. But I think that we're going to make this pretty good. And Oh, there he goes. Let's see what he's going to do. He's making that climb for the next waypoint. So I'm actually just going to let him pull ahead a little bit. We'll keep the power in, and I'll gradually make this correction. So obviously, right, the rumors are true. The AI is not going to provide the best platform for formation flying. However, when you're doing these types of missions that are specifically dedicated to formation flying, what you're going to get is things that are repeatable. Would you fly like this in a multiplayer server, or would you expect your flight lead in a multiplayer server, to pitch up 20-30 degrees immediately like that, trying to make his climb? No. But when you anticipate what's going to happen and you plan for what's going to happen, okay, you can still learn good muscle memory habits that will allow you to fix situations when you see them during your real flights. So, yeah, again, not the best platform, but we're going to work with it here. Okay, so we're going to look for that route formation again. I think we've got a little bit of time before we get to the next waypoint. So let's try and close it up. Now we've got a good rate of change laterally. I'm anticipating getting to my spot, pulling that heading out, pulling the power out, using that momentum to get in there. So if you take a look right now, this is what is called acute. That means we are forward of the bearing line that we were looking for. He's getting ready to turn, so we're going to wait for him to turn. Yep, there it is. And he's continuing that climb. So while we're in the climb, I'm not going to try and get informed with him right now. We'll get there when he levels off. But to explain that term again, the term acute means that you are forward of the bearing line that you're looking for when it comes to the formation. If you are behind the bearing line, the term that is used is sucked. Like we were saying, you're getting sucked into the engine. Okay, well, really, you're getting sucked aft towards the nozzle, where the thrust is exiting the lead aircraft. Okay, here we are again. All right, we're looking for a route formation. So I'm going to adjust a little bit, going to close this up a little bit. Okay, and roughly right about there. Right, this is good enough, right, for the average multiplayer experience. Okay, good route formation. You can see the aircraft clearly. You're in that good bearing line. You're just making small adjustments to your flight path to stay in the formation. We're going to come up on a turn again, and when he turns, because he's going to turn away from me, right, I'm going to stay level with him, but I'm on the outside of the turn. So because I'm on the outside of the turn, right, I'm going to keep the power up, pretty close to mill. Once I see that I'm gaining on him a little bit, right, you'll hear me modulate the power setting, okay, and then I'm nice and close so that as soon as he's done turning, okay, I can actually make my corrections and settle out with him, or as he settles out on the new course. Alright, so this leg is a little bit longer, so we'll take the opportunity to demonstrate how you make corrections in the lateral. Okay, right now we're going to say that the reference heading is 124, right? This is the heading that he's going to be on for a good while, not planning on any turns in between now and the next waypoint. So 124 is the reference heading. What I'm going to do is kind of use the wax on, wax off method. Okay, but basically I'm going to turn. My turn is on. Got a little bit of heading change, and my turn is off. Now I'm on a heading of 127, so it's roughly about 5 degrees. And what you see is that his position, right, is moving further away from me the longer I stay on this heading. Okay. Now if I want to stop this change, I'm going to put the turn on, I'll turn off. Okay, and now I'm on 1, 2, 3. I will have to adjust the speed just a little bit to find that bearing line, but if you look at him, he's not going away from me anymore, but he's not closing up either. Okay? If I want to close this distance, okay, I need to be on a heading that's to the left of what he's on. So now I'm going to turn left, turn on, a couple of degrees change, turn off. I'm going to watch the change. Okay, I'm anticipating the position where I want to be. I'll turn it back on, and I'll come back to the reference heading. He's going to turn left now. Any second now. There it is. So in these turns, all I'm trying to do is basically look at him and try and match his angle of bank. He's banked pretty good, right? He's banked pretty good, so it's pretty aggressive. However, if you practice this, okay, what you're doing is you are working on the muscle memory to go from wings level to that angle of bank and hold it and be steady. And right here, right, I'm finding my route position within a few seconds of completing the turn. And you want that, right? You want that. What that's doing is that is allowing you to keep the same situational awareness picture as your flight lead, i.e. your sensors are pointing in the right direction, or the same direction, I should say. Your visual lookouts can be roughly the same, and where you're actually supporting each other in your flight. Because that's the point, right, of mutual support. If you've never heard that term before, it's a contract that's pre-briefed between the flight lead and the wingman. See, as a wingman, you're supposed to operate as an extension of the flight lead. The flight lead is overall responsible for the safety of a flight and also completing the mission. So you're there to be an extension of him or her, right? So that you are to help them complete those tasks, right? And by mutually supporting this flight on this mission. So this next turn is going to be to the right, which is going to put me on the inside of the turn. So what's going to happen is he's going to actually turn into me. Now, it can get a little bit dangerous when this can happen, but the simple step that fixes this is called step down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually step down the aircraft in altitude. I want some space in between us. Okay, looking for something that you know will allow, right, like vertical stab clearance, right? You know from here without a doubt that if he turns to the right, he ain't going to hit me. Okay, but when I'm on the inside of the turn, I also want this step down so that I can see him through the turn. If I roll the belly and he's below me, I won't be able to watch him. And this is not just for the AI, right? But this would be for a real wingman as well. You want to be able to watch this aircraft throughout the turn so that you, again, can get your visual cues to make the corrections that you need to stay in formation. Losing him in the sun a little bit. I see him coming down. And I want to make my adjustment. Now, as the wingman in the mutual support contract, it's my responsibility to maintain formation. Okay, so I'm going to initiate without any cues from the lead, right, to actually fix this position. Now, what I want people to practice when they first start doing this is to isolate their corrections. Okay, and what that means is if you need to fix your vertical position, fix the vertical position and only the vertical position before you do anything else. Okay, I fixed the vertical position. Now I'm ready to start working on my lateral. I'm going to go turn on, turn off. Now in the opposite direction, turn on, and turn off. Now that I've fixed my lateral, I'm going to adjust the power. And remember, when you want to push forward, if you increase the power, you've got to give a little bit of down nose pressure to compensate for the extra lift. But now that I've fixed all that, okay, I'm in control, I'm in route formation again. Again, we are continuing on with the mission. Okay, we've got a new turn coming up. It's going to be a left-hand turn. It's going to be a fairly sharp one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross under. Make sure I'm clearing him low. Turn on. Turn off. Turn on. Turn off. Now I'm going to fix the vertical. My vertical was a little abrupt, and I ended up a little bit high. Here he goes. Oop. That was a little close. It was actually way close. But because I was anticipating it, I knew I just needed to not give any power. Eventually he was going to come back into view, and then we can continue with the turn. There you go, you can see, right? I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect, okay? And the more you do this, the more you'll be able to anticipate those types of things and keep them from happening in the future. Okay, so that was an intro into formation flying. I hope that this helped. If you have any questions, feel free to put stuff down in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But, you know, I think that this type of flying, if you're flying formation like this with anybody in multiplayer, I don't think anyone with, you know, reasonable expectations is going to be mad at you if you can fly formation with them throughout the mission like this. I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. That aircraft is beautiful. The flying is beautiful. Doing this is only going to improve your DCS flying experience, and, you know, just opening up the skies for further improvement from there. So with that being said, I hope you come back for the next one, and I hope you learned something. And this is Ghost with the Tactical NA-33rd. Goats out.